Hi, George Juma Tutor at Semantics here. Today we're going to talk about a reasoning based approach to math problem solving. We are going to learn how to solve mathematical problems using logic. If you have a non-math background, that is studied till 10th grade, or if you have forgotten all the basic math concepts, then this video will be very useful for you. You need to understand that this exam tests your mathematical reasoning as well as your knowledge of mathematical concepts. If your reasoning skills are weak, you may not be able to maximize your score in the quantitative section of this exam. This video is a part of a series of videos on mathematical reasoning. Subscribe to this channel, click on the bell icon to receive notification. In case you need a math tutor or if you need help in maximizing your score, reach out. Here is my email ID. My contact link is in the About section below. Here are the math concepts which are often tested in the exam. Knowing these concepts is half the battle. In this exam, number system, algebra, geometry, time and work, time, speed, distance, all these concepts are tested. There are totally 30 of them. You also need to learn some math reasoning skills. So what are those skills? Skills like word association, pattern recognition, data inference. There are totally 15 skills which are often tested in this exam. Using these skills, you will be able to dissect a question into smaller parts. You'll be able to understand the question better. You'll be able to decide a problem solving path. There are many paths to arrive at a solution. Which path is the best one for you? You'll be able to solve questions faster in less than 30 seconds. So I'll be taking you through 3 skills today. Skill 1, word association. Generally, when people encounter math problems, they associate words with symbols. For example, times stands for multiplication. If you see more than stands for plus, less than stands for subtraction, is stands for equal to. Knowing these words and which mathematical operation each word is associated with will help you decode the question. You'll be able to understand the question better, hence you'll be able to solve it faster. For example, let's take a simple word question. 2 less than twice a number is 14. Let's associate each word with any of these mathematical symbols. So less than stands for subtraction, twice is multiplication into 2, is stands for equal to. So 2 less than, let's put minus 2, twice a number. So let's take the number as x, twice the number. So we have 2x minus 2 and is equal to 14. So 2x minus 2 equals 14. If you have to bring this number to the right hand side, just change the sign. So 2x is equal to 14 plus 2, 2x is equal to 16, x is equal to 8. You will be getting complex word problems in your exam. This is the easiest way to understand the question. Let's take skill 2, diagramming. Diagramming is a very useful skill. When you read a mathematical question, you might have to picturize the question. You make a visual representation of the problem. Generally, I find that students who have a non-math background, if I explain the question in the form of a picture, they can understand it better than writing equations. So what are the different visual representations we can use? We can use a table, we can use a flow diagram, graphs, anything. Let's take a question. Faye's salary is 5,000. He spent 10% on groceries, 40% on rent. Out of the money he saved, he spends 30% on house repair, how much has he saved so far. So generally people will start off by saying, okay, I have 5,000. Now I spend 10% on groceries. So groceries is 10%. 10% of what? 10% of 5,000. Similarly, rent is 40% of what? 5,000. So I'll compute this. So how much is my money saved? So that's 5,000 minus this amount, and then I'll get a number. Now these are all the steps what people do. Let's not do all this. Let us draw a diagram to understand this question better. I've drawn a simple percentage tree diagram. A salary is 5,000. So I represent this as one big circle and say salary is 5,000. He spent 10% on the groceries. So groceries is this element, 10%. He spent 40% on rent. Rent is this element, 40%. Now the money saved, the balance is this red circle. What you must know is that these three elements should add up to 100%. So 10%, 40%, 50% should add up to 100%. So this line, I would say that's 50%. This is my balance. Now, out of the money saved, that's a balance. He spends 30% on house repair and the balance he saves. So again, you have to understand that this has to add up to 100%. This split also adds up to 100%. So 70% of the balance will be the amount saved. This is how I represent this question. Now it's very easy to compute. All I have to do is how much has he saved so far. So they're asking this number. All you have to do is you have to follow this line. This data we don't need at all. So first 50% of 5,000, 50 by 100 into 5,000 is 2,500. So this is 2,500. Then 70% of 2,500 is 70 by 100 into 2,500. And that gives me 1750, and 1750 is my answer. So I have saved time by representing this question in the form of a picture. So those of you who are not comfortable with writing equations, you can draw a diagram and you can easily arrive at an answer. Okay, so let us now learn a new skill. It's called possibility generation. This is a harder skill. The previous two skills were easy. What you have to do is you have to generate different possibilities, cross-check them with the condition given, eliminate the wrong ones, and what is left will be your answer. So when I generate possibilities, I'll have to focus on the nature of the numbers, whether they are fractions, decimals, or integers, the properties, whether they are odd, even, condition. Each question will have a certain condition. They might say that the sum of the numbers is less than 10, or the product of the number is more than 50. Some conditions like that will be given in the question. You'll have to identify that, then you'll have to generate the possibilities. Let us try out a question. Consider this die. Each face has a unique number. The hidden sides have prime numbers. Opposite faces always adds up to the same number. Now that's the condition. What are the hidden numbers? The hidden numbers are here, here, and here. We know that these are prime numbers. So the prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, so on. Looking at the properties, 2 is a even number. All of them are odd. So you should know some basic rules. Odd plus odd gives me even. Even plus even gives me even. Even plus odd gives me odd. Now let us generate some possibilities. So you have 18 plus something, 35 plus something, 14 plus a number. Now we know that this number, what you get, the sums of all these numbers has to be the same, and the property of this number should be always odd or always even. If you look at this, I can either put a even number here or an odd number because I have to put a prime number, right? So I can put even here, odd, odd. Even plus even, even. Odd plus odd, even. Even plus odd, odd. As I told you, this number here, they say that they always add up to the same number. Now this number has to be either odd or even. But here I'm getting even, even, odd. So that means this assumption is wrong. Now I have to try the next possibility. Let me put 18 plus odd, 35 plus even, 14 plus odd. Even plus odd, odd. Odd plus even, odd. 14 plus odd. Yes, if I observe, I'm getting all the three sums as odd. So this is correct. Let me try the other case. 18 plus odd, 14 plus even, and 35 plus odd. Even plus odd, odd. Even plus even, even. Odd plus odd, even. It's not consistent. So if I look at this case, I know that 35 plus the even number, even prime, the only possibility is 2. So that means 35 plus 2, that means this number has to be 37. So now that we got the sum is 37, we can easily compute the other two phases. I know one phase is 2. The other two phases are 37 minus 18 and 37 minus 14. This is the explanation. 37 is the total sum. 2 is one phase. So here I have 14 plus the unknown should give me 37. So that should be 23. And 18 plus the unknown should give me 37, which is 19. So if you observe, I have listed 3 possibilities and I've checked with respect to the condition that they have to be the same number, and then I eliminated the wrong ones, and then only I was able to get the answer. This is what we call as possibility generation. There are totally 15 skills like this, and it's easy to learn all these skills. I will be teaching them in the Math Foundation program. If you're interested, let me know. Even if you don't know math, if you're good at logic, you'll be able to grasp these concepts pretty fast. I'll have to train you how to think. Once that's done, you should be able to solve any mathematical question in less than 30 seconds. If you have any doubts, feel free to contact me. This is my email ID. You can keep in touch. If you want any math tutoring, get in touch with me. Thank you.